This is Adventure for Life. I'm Joel. I'm going to do a quick summary or synopsis of the Idaho BDR. It was 7 days, start to finish. Again, we started at the Canadian border doing Section 8. We did not end up doing the first section, had some mechanical issues, and were told by a guy that ran the Idaho BDR a lot that the very first section, remember it was extremely hot these last 2 weeks, that the first section was the hottest. It also was a lot of sand, and a lot of that sand was, you didn't get any forewarning, so we ended up skipping it. So we quit in Mountain Home, Idaho. As far as the whole trip goes, beautiful first. Beautiful scenery every single day. We were at elevation a fair amount of the time. Again, one night we stayed in Warren, Idaho, and I think we were probably, I could look it up, but probably 5,000 or 6,000 feet, because I remember the next day when we left there, we immediately started a very significant descent. Honestly, Warren was one of the coolest towns because it was like you were walking into the 1880s or whatever. Anyway, as far as the whole trip goes, a lot of mountains, a lot of mountainsides, a lot of up and down. It was rough. Again, I think on the BDR website it says it's maybe the fourth easiest or something like that, but it was difficult. And again, the guy that put this ride together that's done, I think, 6 of the BDRs now, said that from his perspective, it really was a lot more difficult than it was advertised to be. Obviously, that's everybody's going to have their own perspective on that, but that was just what we decided. And part of that may have been the heat, but just the riding itself certainly had there were lots of difficult parts. But again, the beauty, I would say, always made up for the difficulty level. As far as equipment goes, I think I mentioned to you at the end of the Washington BDR ride, I showed you some pictures of my bike and whatnot, and I didn't mess up anything else on the Idaho section, so all of the damage done to my bike was done on the Washington section. I think that was true for pretty much everyone else too. So the main message is, and you know this already, some stuff's going to break, some stuff's going to get bent, and you need to be able to have some capability to rectify those things when you're on the trail. What I learned as far as the bikes go, I learned that lighter is better when it comes to doing the actual ride part of it. I think I may have mentioned this before. There were 9 of us that started this ride, and I was the only guy that rode to the start of the BDR and the only guy that rode home. And so because of that, got a bigger bike, got a GS, and I don't think, and some of the other guys joked that they wouldn't want to be doing the ride out and ride back that I did on their bikes. And so it really comes down to, are you going to ship your bike to a trail? Are you going to ride your bike to a trail? The GS did everything that needed to be done. It did some of it slower than you would have liked because it's big and it's heavy. It was, I did have to fight it some to keep it up, but honestly, I really fell 3 times, twice on the second day and once on the third day, I think, in Washington. So part of that is I just, my skills got a little bit better as we rode, but little bike is going to be a lot easier on these BDRs, and but the big bike will get you there and get you back, where the little bike would have been pretty tough. What else did I learn? You put a group of people together that for the most part don't know each other real well. I mean, we had a group of 3 guys that knew each other very well. We had other groups of guys that knew each other well, but as far as the whole group goes, getting to know each other, and it's enjoyable. I mean, everybody's got something you can learn from, both from a skill standpoint and also from a just life standpoint. And so it was fun to get to meet people, to get to know people, and, you know, have that experience. I learned that big gas tanks are good. I didn't have to fill up as much as everyone else. I mentioned the town of Warren earlier. Gas in Warren, Idaho was $11 a gallon. One other town we stopped in, I think it was called Yellow Pine, $9 a gallon. Now, obviously you do a ride like this and you're not trying to save money. But it was interesting that both times when the gas was just way high, I happened to not need gas on both of those stops. It was nice for me not to have to worry about getting gas. Again, I said this earlier, I learned that things break. You go on a ride like this and you're not going to walk away unscathed. So I broke a mirror, I bent a shifter, I tore up a protector for one of my cables, pulled some stuff off the side of one of my riding bags, various things like that. I mean, things are gonna help. One of my lights, clear water lights, broke partway through the ride. So, I mean, stuff's gonna break. They call this an adventure for a reason. Things are gonna happen that you don't expect. Things are gonna happen you can't plan for. And that causes a little bit of frustration, I guess, and anxiety, but it's really what you're out there doing. That's why you're out there, to do something that challenges you, that pushes you, that causes you to do something that you normally wouldn't do. It causes you to learn something about yourself. It causes you to learn something about the people you're with and about your equipment. I learned that it's a long way from the southeast to Washington State. I rode 2,500 miles out there. I rode 2,500 miles back. I split it up into 4 days on the way out. I need to get back on the way back 3 days. So on the way back, I rode 12 hours one day, 11 hours one day, and I think 13 hours the other day. So it was, man, that was a lot of riding. And, you know, I was riding on interstate, so that was enjoyable. But, you know, it certainly got old. I learned to sit on that bike in every position you can sit in it on. So that was fun. I learned that, you know, it's not all good. So there's fun parts to it, and a week after you've done it, you're only thinking about the good stuff. But there were some things that it got really hot, got really tired. There were some hard sections. And so it's not something you do lightly. On the other hand, I'd rather have a throttle in my hand than a rope and be sitting on my motorcycle than a remote control sitting in my recliner. Anybody can do that. And it's good to push yourself, to learn something about yourself, learn something about other people, and give yourself a story to tell. Give yourself some experiences that you wouldn't otherwise have, and honestly, most people don't have. So looking forward to doing the next one. Again, we'll be doing the Northeast BDR in a few weeks, and I'm looking forward to that.